All seduction is technically manipulation, but the only difference between ethical and dark seduction is that in the ethical way, you are just flirting with manipulation without completely falling into it. So we are going to break down in this video 5 tactics commonly used both by men and women when they try to go too far. The first one, manipulating her need for validation. Yes, believe it or not, when a girl, even when she's really beautiful, she might crave admiration, validation more than you think. Especially if she had any kind of father-daddy issue. You know what, those kinds of girls when their dad has been emotionally absent, maybe he was there physically but not really giving affection, or maybe even physically he was never really affectionate with them, sometimes they crave that lack of validation into every other guy they meet. And knowing about it is fine, and in any case we all kind of project our insecurities on our partners when we become intimate anyway, but the dark way of using that is if you are aware that she has a need for validation and you keep trying to play at being distant whenever she needs it the most to make her more addicted. In those cases that becomes indeed an addiction because she might crave your admiration, validation, whatever, when you play it on purpose so that she needs more of it. That's the part where I would say it gets too far, in my opinion. Being aware of it and playing upon that in a humorous way, why not? Starting to try to control exactly how she feels at every moment, that's where I would say it gets into the realm of negative manipulation. But if you want to see the ethical ways, or let's say those ways where you just flirt with manipulation without falling into it, you have 5 of the best ways to seduce somebody without falling too much into manipulating, but using just enough psychological tactics so that she gets more interested in you even when you didn't say that much. You have those 5 patterns and techniques down below, and let's proceed with number 2. The ex-boyfriend trauma. You know, every girl you meet, she has had at least one time one extremely negative experience with one ex-boyfriend. Sometimes just because they were immature, sometimes because they were literally physically abusive, unfortunately that happens, and sometimes just because he was kind of trying to play upon her vulnerabilities even when she was not feeling too well. So if you learn about the ways her ex-boyfriend had to control her, or all the negative things he did to her that she has been responding to, because if that guy could have some form of control over her mind, that means she had some vulnerabilities you can learn about. And then the manipulative way of using that would be to actually try to use again all the tactics that ex-boyfriend used with her. If she has really healed from it, maybe she won't be affected anymore, but if she hasn't healed from that toxic relationship and she's still kind of vulnerable to those things, then using that might be really manipulative. Technique number 3, playing hot and cold, also known as gaslighting, when you make her doubt if you really like her or not. The art of seduction is always a kind of push and pull in any case. You try to get too much, she runs away, you don't display enough interest, she might think you don't like her anyway. So it is always this kind of tension between how much do you show that you like her and how much do you need to retrieve and pull away, pull back, so that she does not freak out like, oh, what does this guy want? It has to always remain a tension between both. And it is fine as long as it is a playful, flirtatious game. But when it gets too dark, I think, is when she starts getting emotionally involved. She starts getting maybe not in love, but really affectionate, maybe addicted to some extent to the guy, and that's when he plays emotionally distant. That's when he plays cold on purpose, and then whenever she's about to get bored of that and leave, oh, right away he comes back being all mellow and nice and buying her nice things, or at least doing all the things that she really loves about him. Then whenever she gets addicted again or like really involved again, whoop, he pulls back once again and he plays, he's not responsive anymore, he doesn't respond to text anymore. And I guess hearing this right now, if you're a guy, you may have also noticed a woman in your life who has done that at least one time in the past. You know, this emotional, hot and cold, always letting you think you have her and actually no you don't. And that's again a flirtatious game, but when it gets done on purpose to control somebody's feelings, then it gets really manipulative. And if you have endured that yourself, definitely you need to get out of that relationship as soon as possible. Number 4, negative reframing. As Bandler said one time, everyone into NLP and communication believes that reframing is all about the positive, nice stuff. Oh no, I did not fail, I just learned a lesson. Yeah, that is a positive way of using reframing. But there are also many negative ways and toxic ways of using reframing. In the reverse, no, you did not learn a lesson, you did not do quite well at the test, you failed miserably. That would be a toxic parent teaching to his child, for example. And in the context of seduction, every time she does something you don't like, if you reframe what she has just done to belong to the identity that she hates, then you might control her behavior more easily. For example, if she is the kind of person, the kind of girl who hates, let's say, strippers or any kind of a overtly sexual woman, she hates that because it is displaying too much sexuality. It is bad women, bad girls to do that. Okay, let's say, fine, she hates strippers. That could become really manipulative if you are using that identity of the stripper to reframe everything wrong she's doing or everything you don't like from what she's doing or saying. For example, she says something you don't like and you start doubting, being confused and saying, wouldn't be something that a stripper says? Don't you think this is a stripper in you saying this? And pushing on that negative emotional hot button that of something she hates. Or anything wrong she has done in the past, reusing those behaviors again, saying, don't you think you are acting exactly in the way you have acted that day? The day maybe she hated herself for whatever reason, and pulling back that memory of something she hated in herself, that's a really, really toxic way of handling a relationship, something I would not recommend in any way, and something to be aware of once again if you are caught with a girlfriend trying to do that on you. And the last one, number 5, is not really something that can be called manipulation in itself, but it is what you try to do to manipulate when you're not aware that you need it. Let me explain. If you try to save somebody, you try to find the most vulnerable woman ever and try to be the rescuer, be the savior, save her from any problem in her life to get her affection and her attention, that's something that appears as being positive because you just want to help somebody. In the end, many guys, when they feel too lonely, too broken inside, they constantly try to find the most vulnerable girls around them and try to save them, but saving them in terms of controlling them because they want to control her affection for them. So when they feel too lonely, some guys end up trying to play the therapist or the rescuer with any first damaged or broken girl they find around them just to get her affection somehow. That's manipulation because in the end, you're just trying to exploit the most vulnerable moments another human being has to compensate for any kind of emotional loss you are experiencing or have experienced yourself. So I am saying to be aware about this because it can happen to you too. If a woman is sensing that right now you're not really at your best in life, she might try to exploit those vulnerabilities in you, this potential lack of self-esteem or any kind of low defenses you have right now, to exploit your feelings and trigger you where it hurts the most so that she can control you in terms. That's really fucked up, but that's really how low-level people in life try to get what they want. They try to get what they want by exploiting each other's behaviors and vulnerabilities. So always be aware of this, and if you ever find yourself in that spot where you try to save a girl to get her affection or whatever, that means somewhere in yourself you may be broken yourself, you may need some help, and you may need to find a decent social or life setup before getting back into into dating so that you finally attract the positive, the right ones, and not just the broken, damaged girls around you. And once again, if you really want to figure out the healthiest but also slightly manipulative ways of seducing somebody you like, you have 5 of the best language patterns ever found down below, some things I have developed myself. As I said, flirting with manipulation without falling into it, because all seduction is manipulation anyway. It is, the only difference is at which degree are you playing that. If it goes too low, it is toxic. If there is no manipulation at all, she might just get bored and not be interested in you anyway. The right way is to play with the right level and amount of manipulation without going too low. You will find all the explanations down below in that document with those 5 language patterns, and with that in mind, after you have read all of this, I will tell you thank you very much for watching and see you soon in the next video.